We know very well how much sufferings may bring even physical consequences in our life. And this was David's situation as described in Psalms 38. He was suffering and he was believing that God was rebuking him. Even his health, his flesh, his bones were suffering. He says, there is no soundness in my flesh because of your anger, nor any health in my bones. And then David was able to identify the reason of his sufferings. He says, because of my sin, he was very honest. For my iniquities have gone over my head. Like a heavy burden, they are too heavy for me. He was not trying to present excuses for what he did. He was saying, it was my fault. How many times we fail to recognize that? And we try to place our fault in others or in circumstances. But he says, my wounds are full and festering because of my foolishness. This is why David was considered as having a heart according to God's heart. And then he says, Lord, all my desires before you. He was totally open to God. He was not trying to hide anything. He was not trying to present himself as faultless and say, Lord, why am I here suffering? He says very clearly, no, I know I am suffering. I know that I am a sinner. And his sins, according to this psalm, were affecting even his family relations. For instance, verse 11 says, my loved ones and my friends stand aloof from my plague, and my relatives stand afar off. And so they were trying to blame David and to harm him and to hurt him by speaking about destruction. But he makes a decision, and his reaction should be imitated by us. He says, but I, like a deaf man, do not hear, and I am like a mute who does not open his mouth. Thus I am like a man who does not hear, and in whose mouth is not response. Why he was not responding? Why he was not reacting to their attacks? Then he says, verse 15, for in you, O Lord, I hope. You will hear, O Lord, my God. He was trusting completely in the Lord. And then on verse 18 he says, for I will declare my iniquity. I will be in anguish over my sin. But my enemies are vigorous and they are strong, and those who hate me wrongfully have multiplied. But then he advises, he says, do not forsake me. Saying better, he decides to do that. He says, verse 21, do not forsake me, O Lord. O my God, be not far from me. Make haste to help me, O Lord of my salvation. Are you suffering? Are you feeling that even your health has been affected by your sufferings? Are you able to identify the origin of your suffering? Not even we are able to identify that. If there is sin in your life or in my life, let us confess our sins, because God is a forgiving God. He's able to forgive and to cleanse our sins. According to 1 John chapter 1, verse 9. If we confess our sins, He's righteous and just, and He will forgive and He will cleanse us from all unrighteousness. May the Lord bless you and give you peace, so that you may share that peace with others.